I literally first want to start by saying thank you for being here. Thank you to Esther. Thank you to Jerry. I literally just had to manifest being in the hot seat. That was a real reason for raising my hand, to see if I could be here. I know that sounds crazy.
Oh, we meant that other person over there.
I'm literally shaking right now because I can't believe you chose me. Or
now,
maybe I can believe it.
There you go. There you go.
It's
a good thing. You're helping us say something that really matters, and that is when you hold an intention and you focus upon it in whatever way you do until you isolate and identify the vibration of it, and you accomplish a consistency in that vibration enough that then the further thoughts turn to the things that are evidence of the thought. That's the way you come not only to understand the laws of the universe, but to trust them, and even more than that, to trust yourself. Because just listening to us, here is this woman, she sounds so confident, she never misses a beat, words just stream so easily, there's consistency in the message, but still she could just be really smart. And so you don't really know for sure what you're getting here. It could just be another opinion that somebody else with a lot of confidence is delivering to you. Come this way, come this way, come this way. But if something that you hear resonates and you affirm it with your own awareness of the resonance that you feel, and then you apply some of it deliberately, and then you feel an impulse, even an impulse like wanting to be in the hot seat or about raising your hand in order to be, and you get what it was you wanted, then you have some evidence of the way the laws of the universe work. You find evidence of your own alignment, and that's really what we wish for all of you, is that you look for and find evidence of your alignment. Don't test it with things you don't believe, because you'll get evidence of your not believing. Jerry always said, put your basket out there far enough that if you hit it, it will thrill you, but not so far that you don't think you can. Don't test it in a way that makes you know, and then the limits of your testing are unlimited. Then in time you'll feel so invincible that it won't just be, well, I thought I might kind of try to see if I could get in the hot seat. It will be something far more than most people would allow themselves to even want, let alone believe. But when you want something and you believe it, then you are in that place of non-resistance, and then you unleash the energy that creates worlds on your behalf. And most important, because you're unleashing the energy that creates worlds on your behalf all day, every day. But the most important factor is you don't unleash it and then block it. Yeah. So now you're here, get out.
I do have a question for you.
Oh, really?
I do feel...
Did you just think it up?
Well, kind of. It's along my power of manifesting. I feel like I'm a very strong manifester. I can manifest little things easily, like getting into the hot seat. I would just try to see if I could do it. So I'm curious. My daughter has a condition, and I'm curious about, she's a young toddler, so I'm curious about, I wanted her to be in a certain classroom with certain children. I'm curious if my ability to manifest, if I'm manifesting things, do I have any control over what I manifest? Am I manifesting things for her?
You don't have control of her manifestation. She does. But you certainly can influence. In other words, that's what uplifting is. That's what the art of healing is. When you hold someone as your object of attention, you put them in your vortex. And now the part of your awareness of them is part of your point of attraction. Esther has a dear, 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 dear friend who she met 30 years ago, who is a counselor, a psychotherapist. She has all kinds of credentials behind her name. She's been uplifting and helping people for decades. And as she began listening to Abraham, she began applying some of the processes that she had learned from us in assisting people in finding vibrations that could serve them better. And one of them that she particularly took to was a process that we called scripting, where you hold something or someone as your object of attention, and you focus on the story the way you know they would like it to be. You just sort of write the story the way you want it to be. And so Jerry and Esther's friend began doing that with some of her clients. and with her own children. Her son, magnificent carpenter, finished carpenter, makes beautiful furniture and cabinets, expensive ones, but he was not well employed, self-employed, but not much business coming his way. And so his mother focused upon the beauty of his work, the sincerity of his effort, the sensational results of his talent, and the easy flow of clients into his experience. And from the first day that she began writing that story, from the whole of who she is, his phone started ringing. She called back to talk to Esther about it and to Abraham about it. It was in the early days when telephone consultations were possible. And she said, am I really influencing his prosperity? And we said, of course you are. Anything that you hold is your object of attention. It's more difficult with your children than anything else because you're guarded about them, you're worried about them. Most of your children are better off if you just don't think about them at all. Because you're usually not on the satisfying leaning edge. You're usually on the dissatisfying leaning edge, wanting to make their life better or wanting them to be different in some way. But if you can accomplish this feeling of satisfaction and appreciation and positive expectation for your child or anyone, just like when you stood before Jesus dripping your illness, and he saw not your illness because he was trained to satisfaction. He was not willing to give up his alignment for your temporary trouble. So he just knew your wellness. He knew it unequivocally. He'd practiced it long before you got in front of him. In other words, he didn't wait till you got there and then try. He knew it. He meditated himself into it. He resonated with it. He connected with source energy. It was his dominant understanding of who he is, not different from you. And then, as he gazed in your direction, his knowing of who you are was more dominant than your knowing of who you are or your belief of who you are. Because let's face it, when you are not feeling good, when you are dripping in illness, you're wimpy. You're guarded. You're usually mad at yourself. You're usually pretty defensive. You're usually looking for the reason that this bad thing has happened to you. But he just knew, and he knew it so strong that in his knowing, somehow, he controlled the vibrational frequency around you for a little bit, and then he said, go forth and tell no one. If you go home and start talking about this, you will talk yourself out of this influence. And so it's the same for all of you. Connect with source and don't let yourself deviate into worry or feelings of unfairness or injustice. Look at it this way. You can be satisfied or you can worry, but you can't do both at the same time. You can be satisfied or you can be angry. Just for a little while, pretend that you can be satisfied or something that doesn't feel good. Satisfied or something that doesn't feel good. But you can't do both. So make a choice. Are you satisfied? Well, if you're going to be satisfied, Esther's been, since she listened to us, speaking to all of you, about you don't know what satisfaction really feels like. So she sat for days, not all day, every day, but on many, 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 many days, with many, 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 many notebooks and many, 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 many pages, she began identifying moments that she could recall, recent and way past, where she knew for sure she was feeling unequivocal satisfaction. And at first, the memories weren't coming back to her as quickly because she was looking for them and not finding them so much. And then once that door opened and she started to remember being really, really, really young and laying in the grass with nobody knowing where she was and nobody caring. No one was after her to do something other than what she was doing. Her mother was busy. Her mother trusted her. Different times, you might say, small town. But Esther remembers being in that grass and just liking being there and thinking, what kind of a fun thing should I do next? And then she remembers going between the lilac bushes. They were big, and there were 3 of them, and it made a sort of little cave for her. And she remembers going inside and getting an old blanket and putting it down in her little cave and laying down in there and thinking, this is so cool. I like being here so much. And then she took a leaf from the lilac bush, big leaf, folded it in half. Her father had shown her how to do it and made a whistle out of it. Ooh. But she knew it would whistle because she'd heard somebody whistle with it. So she took a lot of leaves off of that lilac bush that day until her mouth made that leaf whistle. Oh, it was so satisfying when that leaf whistled. She still remembers. She carried leaves to school to whistle to people. But she remembers the feeling of satisfaction, the feeling of satisfaction. So she did what we asked. She reached for it, discovered it, isolated it, focused upon it long enough that then more thoughts about satisfaction began coming into her experience. So she practiced the feeling of satisfaction. That's what we're asking you to do. Because you underestimate the importance of your point of attraction, and it doesn't matter what thought, past, present, or future, you're using to tune your vibration to non-resistance. But when you tune your vibration to non-resistance, in the absence of resistance, that momentum increases until it's not long before you begin to feel invincible. Before you're not just reaching for things that you think are easy to accomplish. You said the little things. It's that everything feels possible to you. Esther told someone the other day, they said, what do you do? And she said, I'm a pointer. They said, what do you mean? She said, I just point at things I want and they come to me. They said, really? And then they said, really? And Esther said, really? And they said, really? And then they said, really? And Esther said, yeah. It works for me most of the time. Most of the time. If I point at something that I believe, it comes right away. And if I point at something I don't believe, I can feel that I don't believe it. And then I have an option of improving my satisfaction around it, or just leaving it in the I don't believe it column so that it doesn't manifest. So you can look around your experience and you can tell what things are in the I believe it column and what things are in the I don't believe it column, because the things you believe are manifesting. Those thoughts are already turning to things.
Okay, I have something that I'm pointing at, and I feel very certain that it's coming in my direction. I just know this.
Then no more discussion is necessary.
But there's someone around me. There's someone around me that would be coming with me as well. I'm pointing at a house that I would like. This person that's around me thinks I'm completely insane.
So what?
But I'm wondering, is he going to be in the house with me, or am I going to be in the house by myself?
Well, now think about your question.
I want him in the house with me.
Well, of course you do, but let's break that question down just a little bit. If you have the power to manifest a house, how dumb is that question? Why would you muddy it up? Oh, I have the power to manifest, but if you don't believe, I can't let you come. I can't let you come to my manifestation because you didn't believe.
Well, I'm just wondering.
Let me tell you the story of the little red hen.
Is he manifesting something different? Is he going in the opposite direction because he can't believe it?
You have just identified the reason that you mess up your own vibration. So there you are right there. We just have one simple question for you. Are thoughts of his disbelief satisfying or not?
Dissatisfying.
Then why are you talking about him? Why are you doing that to you? Why are you widening your gap?
Right.
Because satisfaction isn't what you're reaching for. Being right is what you're reaching for. You're not reaching for satisfaction.
Right.
A little revenge is what you're reaching for. A little I told you so, you get the basement.